and saying, hey, we would like to know if you have anybody that would like to be a guest on our podcast. And they're like, what's a podcast? I'm like, well, it's like a radio show, but with video. And so you really had to explain it. And now it's just all the rage. So, everybody and their brother almost has a podcast. But when you want to be a guest on a podcast, you want to be selective. You just don't want to be on any podcast. You want to be on a podcast that has your niche and your audience in it to really benefit you.
Yeah. And so I'm just trying to set up everything here. It looks like we're only live on YouTube. So hold on. I'm just going to set up my Instagram and go live there too. Do you want to do that on yours? And then we'll continue on with the questions.
How do I do that?
So you just click on your Instagram, and then on the bottom where you're going to go to post, you're going to push the plus sign and
Okay.
then switch the bottom to say live.
Okay. But then it's
Then you'll
not.
just be doing like the like recording us.
Oh,
Why
okay.
not?
I don't know about that, but all right. Okay.
That'll work.
Okay. It's really not a great angle, but okay.
All right. Okay, Melanie.
You know what?
Okay.
I should really have it on a tripod.
Yeah.
I need to do.
Well, I can just do it if you want.
And all right, this is
We're
a little.
going live. We're on YouTube if anyone wants to go watch it on YouTube, so it's not just streaming on Instagram. But we're live because today we want to talk about how you can become a podcast guest. And we've been helping a lot of people become podcast guests, and it's kind of changing things for them, for their business, for their book, whatever they're working on. So,
For sure.
Melanie, tell us, why do you need to be on as a podcast guest? Why do you need to be on podcasts?
So, podcasts, like I said, are probably one of the most popular things. Back 10 years ago, when Jen and I started our podcast, nobody even knew what a podcast was. I remember calling a PR agency and saying, listen, do you have anyone that would want to be on our podcast that we could interview? And they're like, what's a podcast? So I was like, oh my gosh. So we had to explain what it was. It's kind of like a radio show, but now so many people have podcasts, and it's really a great way to get your message out. And the other thing is, you don't want to just be on any podcast, right? So, one of the things, if you're looking to be on a podcast, is you have to research the right ones. And that's what we do with this program that we come up with for you. It's an automated podcast guaranteed system to get you booked. So, what we do and what you'd have to do if you did it on your own is there's 4+ million podcasts. So you'd have to research all of those podcasts to find the ones that are right for you. And it's cool because we have software that will tell us, how many views that particular podcast is getting. So we can set it for, if you want people, you need a low bar to entry, where you can do it for podcasts that don't have as many views, right? Or you can say, I only want podcasts that have a really high following and a lot of views, and try and get on those podcasts. So it's important to get it out. So there's, Jen, why you were going to ask me, I know
Yeah,
what.
I have a bunch of questions, but I just waited
Yeah.
for you to pause. So
Yeah. Okay. Go
the
ahead.
first question I have is, so what if my friend has a podcast and they're like, hey, come on my show and be on my show? Would you be on their show if their business has nothing to do with your business?
Not unless you could contribute something of your knowledge and niche that helps you grow your business and your brand, right? So I
Yeah,
would say, no, you really shouldn't. You
yeah,
should be on the podcast that helps you grow your business. So let's say you're a financial advisor, then you really want to be on business podcasts, financial podcasts. If you're talking about women's health or health in general, then you want to be on health podcasts or things that apply to what you're talking about.
right.
Otherwise,
You don't
if
want
you
to just be on
yeah,
random niches or on just random podcasts just to be on, right?
right, for
And then
sure.
what happens when you find a podcast that you want to be on, and that podcast has a lot of views, like you're really excited, the interviewer is really good, you've watched some of their podcasts so you know how it's going to go, and then you just jump on and wing it. Is that what you should do? Or how do you prepare to be on a podcast? Like, what if
That's
you've
a good
never been
question.
a podcast guest?
Right. So how do you prepare? So let me give you some tips on how you prepare. What number one, you need to have your messaging really dialed in. Like when we work with our clients, we really dial in the messaging for the outreach. But then what are you going to do in your message, right? So have questions that you know you want to be asked about, number one. Number two, make sure you have a call to action at the end of your podcast. So what are they going to do? Are they just going to go to your website? Are you going to give away something free? Like what we like to do is give away one of our books. We give a flip book away. So you could give a free PDF, you could give information, because what that does is it offers that audience something to come into your environment, something to take a little taste of what you do more than the podcast. And then you get to add them to your mailing list because they've added in there. So it could even be sign up for your newsletter, right? So what we want to do is have some strategic things that you know what you're going to say, have questions that you know you're an expert that you can answer, and then have something that you can give away at the end of the podcast. Now, another secret that we like to do is don't just give it away there. Tell the podcaster, the person who is
The
the host,
host.
listen, you can send an email out to everyone on your list and give them this free thing that I have. So that is a really cool thing. So that's some of the ways you have to be prepared. The other things you have to be prepared are a little more technical. So the
Yeah.
technical part is have good lighting, have a
Yep.
good camera, have a microphone, test it all out, see what
Yeah.
the best angle is for you. Where should you be sitting if you're doing it at your house so it is really looks good? So
Yeah.
you need to have the right equipment as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now this is a lot of information. So let's stop for a minute on the equipment and go back to the landing page because some people don't even know what that is, or the opt-in or the offer, right? The call to
Right.
action. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you just go on a podcast and don't and you share your message, which is
Yeah.
great, but then at the end of the podcast you don't have a special link for them or you don't have a free book or you don't have a free offer, a free download,
Right. You don't have a free
then
offer.
there's
Mhm.
then you're not going to get much from being podcast guest. Like the
Right.
ROI isn't going to be there. So the
Right.
reason why you want to have that all set up in advance is so that you can actually capitalize on being a podcast guest because they have lots of followers, lots of listeners, and you want to get those listeners into your audience. And that's why you're being a guest on their podcast so that you can share audiences, right?
So I like to say you're hijacking someone's audience, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the benefits when you get on there is you're hijacking their audience. So you're now going to get exposed to people that you were never exposed to before. So if they have, not only just the people that are watching the podcast, but usually what we do too is we send the podcast out to our list. So it goes in the host email, they're announcing it, it's going on their social media. So even if they didn't see it live, they're getting familiar with your name. So you're now hijacking their audience. The other next thing that being a guest on a podcast does for you is now you have content. So you can take that video, you have the long form of it, but then you also have short form. You can create video clips from it. So you can create multiple clips from that, put it on your social media, right? You can send it out even as an email clip. So you can use that in a variety of ways, put it on your YouTube channel. Then the other thing is you can get a transcript of your podcast interview. Now, with different AI tools, you can turn that transcript into blog post articles. You can grab quotes from it and use that as post. You can even use it to start a book. We've taken podcast interviews and put it into AI and come out with an outline for a book just from that. So
Yeah, I
there's,
think that was like our sixth book we ever wrote, right?
yes.
Was a book
Then,
writing Bible is what it was
right.
called.
So think about the other thing you get is credibility because someone wanted you to be on their podcast because they're not just going to take anybody on their podcast. They want someone who is either a best-selling author or someone who's accomplished with what they do. So, and I'll tell you some of our success stories. We were myself, I was on a podcast and it was something to do with publishing and writing. And from that, we got $100,000 client. So think about that. Think if you could be on one podcast interview and it brings in $100,000 to you. I was just on a podcast just the other day and we closed a $7,000 deal, a five-figure deal, just by being interviewed on someone else's podcast that has my audience that needs the services that we have. You're getting exposed to them. And when you're there, guess what? They get to see your personality. They get to see you and your expertise way more, not just a little clip on social media. You're actually having a conversation, and they're getting to ask you, sometimes their interviews asking you in-depth questions. You can go over objections that people have to your services. So it's really, really a great way to become an expert in your field and find somebody else's audience.
Yeah, I actually have a few success stories too. So I've only been on maybe one or two podcasts to talk about my children's books because normally when I'm
Yeah.
on a podcast, I talk about elite online publishing, I talk about
Yeah.
publishing, I talk about how to publish, how to write, those kind of things, or how to market your book. And so
Mm-hmm.
this time
Yeah.
I did talk about those things, but I also talked about how to do a children's book, why
Yeah.
you should write one, and how my children's books were. And I have had continual sales of my children's book. I haven't really
Yeah.
advertised them much except for being on those two podcasts. And I
Yeah.
have continual sales of those children's books, which is really awesome. I
Yeah.
am not even doing Amazon ads right now on those. So it's really cool to be able to see like little bits of, little chunks of money coming in every month from those children's
Yeah.
books when, I've only been on a few podcasts. So that just kind of shows you right there. If I wanted to sell more children's books, I should double down and do on more children's podcasts or more podcasts that I can talk about the children's books. But
Yeah.
I do like talking about publishing more, so that's why I do that.
But yeah, you're talking about your product, your service, who you are, your background, how you got to where you are today, and giving valuable information. One of the reasons people say, well, I just don't have time to be booked on podcasts. Well,
Yeah.
mostly if they don't
They
have
think they're
time.
too busy. They think
Yeah.
I have to run my business. I am too busy. I don't have time.
Well, imagine part of the not having time is doing all the research, right? And sending emails out and doing all of that. So,
Yeah.
what would you think if somebody did all that work for you? What if like we're going to go in and we're going to do all the research of the 4 million plus podcast, and then
Finding the
send
niche.
out 25 emails a day to those podcasts that you're a great fit for, and all those replies are going to come into your inbox of, hey, we want to book you on a podcast. So that takes one of the time issues off the table. We do all the timing of crafting the right message and everything for that. And then the other part is like, oh, well, to be interviewed, that's a lot of time. It's really not. The majority of podcasts are done over Zoom or they're virtual. So really it takes about an hour of your time. And once you do a couple and you're prepared, you know the answers to the questions already, you have your studio set up, it's an hour of your time basically. Usually most podcasts don't go longer than that. So I would say you do have time. And the other part is, what is the value of a client to you? What is
Right.
one client? And then think of the lifetime value of a client. So if you spend an hour of your time to get there, right? And you get one client, what could that turn into for you? Plus referrals from that client as well.
Yeah, I think that the ROI on being a podcast guest is
Yeah.
can be infinity, really. It depends on how many
Yes.
podcast guests you go or how many podcasts you go on. But it
Right.
also is determined by your workflow and your opt-in and your offer, right? Your call to action.
Yes.
But I really do think that, being a podcast guest also gives you that authority and
Hmm.
trustworthiness because people will
Right.
see your YouTube video, they'll hear you if they're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And more people, especially business owners, are listening to podcasts more than they are listening to the radio or
So
anything like that.
let's talk about the SEO, right? Now, all of a
Yeah.
sudden, by being on there, you've created SEO. So when I go to look you up, suddenly there's like five, six things about you because you've been on all these podcasts. So you're paying for SEO for your website. Well, why not get some free SEO with these interviews? And then someone can actually listen to what you're saying and hear your message. And by the way, some of these clips and things should also live on your website.
Mhm.
I'm just working with a client that they did several interviews, but they were like 3 years ago, but they still should have that media on their website as well. You've
Yeah.
got to figure out, we always say repurpose your content. The other thing is, well, it's
I was
expensive.
just gonna say we make sure, and we need to update a couple more because you've been on a few podcasts lately. But Melanie and I both have author websites, and we put our those media exposure on
Right.
our website
Yeah.
because you've got to have a place for that, whether it's in your blog or on a
Hmm.
media page on your website, somewhere where it can live on your own
Yeah.
website, as well as posting it on LinkedIn and having your social media marketing company put it
Right.
on all the different platforms for you, right?
And we are having an offer where we're booking, doing all this work for you. It's normally $1,500 a month, and until December 5th, it's only $1,000 a month. Plus, you are going to get an hour with either Jenn and I to talk about anything, to consult you about anything, whether it's writing a book, publishing a book, going through your website, going through your social media. And then you're going to get $1,000 credit towards any publishing or marketing package. So she'll put that in
Yeah,
the
let me share my screen right now
yeah.
and you guys can
And
see what
also,
we can get.
yeah,
Let me see here.
it's coming up.
There we go. All right. So yeah, let's just go through this. So you can
Anything
get 2 months
for
free.
marketing.
Do you want to
Let's
read through it, Melanie?
yeah. Well, I scroll down to who it's for. Scroll down to
Okay.
who this is for, right? Um, All right, stop right there. So it's really for these people. It's for authors, coaches, experts, influencers, entrepreneurs, consultants, business owners, speakers, and executives. And the reason we say this is I had a friend ask me about doing this with us yesterday, but he is not ready. He doesn't have a platform. He doesn't have his own business. He's working for somebody else really right now and doesn't have his credibility honed in for his business. So, like, if you're a medical assistant or you're a executive secretary, you have to have like, where are you going to drive them to? What is the thing that you can promote and sell them to in your platform? So that's why we say, if you are one of these people, this is really who it's for.
Yes, because this is going to grow your audience no
Yeah,
matter what, if you're an executive, consultant, expert, author, all of those things.
right. And so let's talk about, like, it is a price. So, but it's not that expensive. When you're only at $1,000 a month, we're seeing from our clients anywhere from 3 to 10 bookings. Now, people are like, I don't have enough. I can't do 10 bookings in 1 month. Well, they're usually spread out. That means 10 people said yes to you, right? Or 5 people said yes to you. And then you get it on a calendar that works for you. So you could time it out and the bookings work for you. Okay. And then why is it a 6 month commitment? What we have seen is you want to get momentum. The first couple of weeks, we're getting you onboarded, honing in your message. And then after that, then we're starting to do the outreach. And then we're doing testing and measuring after that to see what works for you, right? To make sure that we're getting the result you want. So it's always about testing and measuring the results and the stats. But what we're seeing is like an 83% open rate, which is huge, 83% open rate. And then we're seeing about a 30% reply rate, which is great. So it really is effective what we do. So I would say that it is truly a benefit when you want to be on a podcast. If you want to get that credibility and you want to create a lot of content for yourself that you can repurpose on your own social media and hijack somebody else's offer, then go to I guess what is the website, Jenn? And it's
Yeah,
going to be
so
in the,
it's just info.eliteonlinepublishing.com,
yep,
holiday 2025. And I'll put the link up in the show notes on YouTube as well as the comments on
right.
Instagram and Facebook.
And
But
it
Melanie,
is on I think
tell
it's
them,
pinned on my Instagram as well, so you can go
yeah,
there.
you can click on our link tree as well. It'll be on there on
I
Instagram.
do want to say there's limited availability because we can't take, thousands of clients. So we only have a small amount that we are taking, and then the offer expires December 5th. So we're ready to go. We've already had several people that have signed, and we're really excited about that. And we're looking forward to working with them. So ask yourself, are you the person that needs to be exposed to other people's audiences? Are you ready to step into that new comfort zone, start 2026 using somebody else's audience and ready to hit the ground running and make 2026 an awesome year? I mean, imagine that you start 2026 with already being on podcast and generating revenue from being interviewed on other people's podcast.
Yeah, and I think it's just the best way to start your new year, having all those bookings scheduled, and so that you know you're going to be boosting like 10 timesing, 10x your everything in 2026, right? So how do you guarantee that someone will get booked?
Well, we do such massive outreach. Like we're doing 20 to 25 emails per day. Per day. Someone thought it was per month. I'm like, no, it's per day. So when we have that massive outreach and that we've really honed in your message, right? The emails that we're sending out are really geared to want people to book you on their podcast. And the other thing is we're honing in the niche, right? So we're going after podcasts that would want you on their podcast. So we've just done this and we know that we can guarantee it because we've had such wonderful results.
Right. Yeah, and we're going to be in your niche. You're not going to be on a random podcast. So it's
Right.
going to be exactly the audience that you want to have listen to you, which is
And
what you need.
yeah. And then the other great bonus is, you're not just going to get booked on podcasts, you're going to get $1,000 credit towards any of our marketing or publishing services. And you're going to get a free consulting call with Jenn or I.
Yeah.
We've been in this business for years. We've been doing publishing and marketing for 10 years. I used to own two TV stations, started out in that business and started out as a TV newscaster and then produced television shows. And Jenn's
Yeah.
she still does websites.
Yeah, I've been doing websites and SEO since 2007. So we know marketing and we know how it works, especially if you don't know how to set up your landing page or how to have that workflow or what your call to action is, we can
Yeah.
consult you on that.
Yep. And I want to give a shout out to Jacob Chirella. He looks like he's watching me today. Thank
Oh,
you,
good.
Jacob. Big wave to you.
Yeah, we got a few people watching over here too.
Which is awesome. So click that link, see if it's for you. We would love to work with you. We would love to take your brand and explode it and have you have a whole new audience for 2026. And I want to hear your success stories. I want to hear how you got $100,000 client from being on somebody else's podcast, just like we did. So start the new year strong and get ready to go.
All right, we'll talk to you guys soon. We'll put those links up in the comments as well as in the show notes. We'll talk to you guys soon. We'll
Hey,
see
thanks
you
for watching.
soon in Coffee Chat. Bye bye.